Hello Internet. Today we are going to test drive a new tool called Rye. It is a new tool for managing Python packages with a nice logo of, well, Rye. It is made by Armin, which is the creator of Flask and a lot of other projects. He's now working at Sentry and is basically doing a lots of cool shit. And he was basically, as far as I understand, disappointed with Python management tools, Python project management tools in the Python ecosystem. And I get him because, well, I'm disappointed by that, but he actually knows what he's doing. So he actually built a new tool, and I'm going to test drive that. First of all, you can also go and click this button, this video. He actually explains how to use that tool and how he uses it. And I already watched that one. I will link it in the description, but I will try to now, I will attempt to use it firsthand. So let's dive in. By the way, apparently I found like a new nice thing called Figlet, and it allows to render big ASCII font, and I wasted some time getting to like finding the Doom font, which apparently looks really cool. Now, so we can now brew install Rye. And this will not work because Rye is probably not on Doom, not on brew. Or if yes, then I'm surprised, but let's actually see. Brew info Rye. Is that the thing? Oh, it's actually, it is indeed the same Rye tool. We can also install that directly with curl, so we can actually, just for the sake of like going through the docs directly, let's uninstall that from here. The installer will install Rye in .rye in the home directory. Looks good. That's actually really useful for machines that the home directory is not exactly yours. Let's say if they're ephemeral and you only have like, well, storage that is only have like a persistent storage on like one path somewhere in the file system. Anyhow, we can just go with that. As you can see, it uses its own Python runtime, which is nice. It does not depend on the runtime that is provided by the system. I'm going to actually remove that. And we can wait for that to install, and then we'll bootstrap a new project. Yeah, so let's echo that into our I will echo that into my ZSHRC. So yeah, if we echo that, that looks not broken, and we can just pipe that in. Okay, and let's open a new tab. Not think about it that much, and now we do have Rye. Yeah, we do. Awesome. Do we have auto-completions? No, we don't. Can we add completions? This will be Rye self completion. Looks like the thing that we're after. And seems like we want to eval that. So let's pipe that in as well. So echo of eval $subshell of that. And this should be fine, yeah. And let's pipe that into our ZSHRC as well. By the way, if you actually, if we have brewed installed this, then this would have probably like happened in the background. We wouldn't even have noticed. Anyhow, let's pipe that in. And let's open a new tab. and write. Still no completions. That's disappointing. Sublime of this thing. So do we want to not run this like that? Do we just want to type the output of that into our ZSHRC? Write self-completion dash help dash s ZSH. Oh, that looks different. Then apparently we'd want to do something like dash s ZSH. Open new tab. Still no completions. Let's do that. Oh, we are sourcing ryenv. Interesting. I was sure this is actually. Let's actually look what's going on in ryenv. Rye shell setup. Case in path in blah 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 rye shims, export rye shims. Yeah, so this is not doing any completions for us. Let's try to just eval this ourselves and let's see if that's actually doing anything. And now rye. Well, that's disappointing. Shall we go with using brew? Like, it kind of sucks. Do we need to wrap that in quotes for some reason? Interesting. So if we actually look at that, we have many things here. So like some of the functions show up, but not like rye itself, which is weird. Do we need to like do a auto completion code reload thingy? We might want to do that. So let's rerun this thing at the bottom here and open that. Rye self rye sync, nothing. Okay, I'm commenting these out. I am removing rye, which probably will be something like uninstall. Yes, please. Don't forget removing from your shell config. Yeah, and brew install rye. Apparently brew is the way to go, which makes me sad because I thought this would be more fun. Anyhow, rye, now let's rerun that in a new shell and still no completions. Okay, so it's not the shell faults, it might be just rye's fault. Let's figure out what actually rye self completion that dash actually does. So, wow, that's a lot of shell scripts. God damn it. Oh, wow. Okay, so autoload dash u is at least, yeah, and we do have rye here as a function. Which means that I might want to actually read the documentation on how to use that. So, the shell to generate completion script defaults to bash, possible values bash, elvish, fish, partial zsh. And why doesn't that just work though? Because this looks like the right thing. If we, I'm just gonna do a little quick check. Let's just fire up Docker here and let's run, and let's see if in Linux things are broken. Maybe it's just my terminal. So Docker is up and running and we can just go with docker run --rn -it and just Ubuntu bash. Maybe I should have gone with Ubuntu Slim just to save also some time. So Ubuntu latest -slim. Am I not doing this right? Might need a version or Alpine. You know what? Never mind. Let's just run Ubuntu. Yeah. Oh, okay. Somehow already pulled. That happened quite quickly. Anyhow, let's run the installation script and then see. So let's copy that, paste that in. And we don't have curl because this is Docker, of course. Apt-get update classic Docker apt-get install -y curl. By the way, I really like the fact that like using Docker is that smooth these days. We can just run like that. The script will automatically download and install Rye. The script is running as root. This is dangerous and unnecessary. I like that he's actually like stating this is insecure. But we are running as root inside a small box that's disconnected from the world. So that's fine for us, but yeah. Anyhow, let's just let that happen in the background. I'm deliberately using Ubuntu and not Python because I don't want like any existing Python installation here on purpose. And we will let that run, and we can also like not worry about like the completions. It's just like well, trying to be nice to ourselves basically. Not production ready yet. That's good to know. Let's go to the production while this is running. Installing internal dependencies. That's nice. So I've seen the video. We're not going to watch it right now. We've done the installation. Okay, cool. So we can also like determine a specific value. I'm surprised that it's only CPython 3.92, 3.11. I was surprised that he left out 3.10, but apparently it's not. I'm just bad at reading. Anyhow, yeah. Okay, cool. So right now, let's just make the let's run. So first of all, Rye is not in our home, not like evaluated right now because we're in the Docker and we are not going to start a new shell. So now Rye is now here, but we don't have other completions yet. But if we go with self completion, given that I'm typing correctly, yeah, this is now -s bash, and we can eval whatever is here, and it says found an unexpected token, and if I'm giving you that thing, then it might just work. And yeah, okay, so now in bash everything works fine, which means I need to just make sure I haven't broken anything. If we look at this looks fine. I mean, this looks like exactly the thing that I would want to actually execute in like my local shell. Rye, still not working. You know what? I have like another idea. Let's source this. So let's echo, not echo, let's just ri self completion dash s zsh into ri completion dot zsh, and while that has happened, we can now source this completion.zsh. So we don't need to actually do anything fancy here. Still no. Wow, this is kind of sad. I think I did this correctly. Yeah, that's exactly the thing. Why is compdef ri not a thing? Interesting. If I go like that, will this work? No. So there is the function underscore ri here. Open issue about this, maybe? I'm sorry I'm wasting time on like not actually the thing which is trying the tool, but convenience, like life convenience is important when doing like searching for a project management thing. Tab completion run x should yield completion with the cancel executable. Open issues. Why does ri use shims? No, that's not a thing. Not an interesting thing. Pull requests. Ri femt. Support workspace only project. So auto install completion script when to shell with dash dash install flag. So this was not a thing. Agreed. This should be optional. MO, this should be opt-in. Just add a dash dash install for completion. Happy. Wait, there's a bit of overlap between this and 155. Proper installation. I think curl bash, blah, 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 blah. This is now available. Okay, so this is like the write up thing, which we've done here. But this does not fix the completion thing. ZSH. Okay. Or if we've got oh my zesh. That's nice. Okay, so apparently I just should have RTFM this hard. So let's do the RTFM thing, which is first of all to remove any arbitrary crap that I've put in. Okay, so brew uninstall write again. I'm just basically trying to go away the book, and apparently I'm failing to do that well. And now let's curl that thing again. This will download the same script as we've seen. And we can now let it just do the thing. And after that is complete, we can add ZSH. So first of all, write ships with an N file that that should be sourced to update the path automatically. So let's there's quite a bit of a bit to shims in the behavior. Make sure you're read up on shims. Okay, good to know that there's something to read about next. Anyhow, all done. So let's echo that, which is the same line that I've wrote before. And after that, this is the thing that I haven't written, which is Rye self. Yeah, so we don't have Rye yet in this shell, and this one we do. And now let's open a new terminal, and we still don't have a thing. And if we try the ZSH custom plugins thingy and run that, and then we go here, and then we try Rye, still nothing, which makes me kind of sad. Because that means I am the one to blame. Make sure to add the plugin into your ZSH RC, which I obviously haven't done because, well, I'm bad at following instructions. So let's go for plugins, and then let's write plugins. ZSH Rye. And now new tab. Please work, just work. So annoying. Is that just warp being broken? That would basically just make me want to go back to using. That's just warp being broken. Wow. Okay. I think this actually is worth a bug report to warp. Maybe. I mean, working here. So yeah, let's not just use warp for this session. Let's just continue on with iterm. So, oh, but now I will need to like rewire my head back to like using item, but sure. Anyhow, let's cd into, where were we? Dev streams Rye. Let's git init this and Rye. Actually, also let's git init, yeah, with an initial root commit, and Rye init this project. Initialize projects, hello Rye, run Rye sync to get started. So Rye sync. I'm really liking the vibes of keeping that. I do not want Python 3.8, so let's pin that to, I think it's right pin, right? Yeah, so it's pin 3.11, I guess. And then let's Rye sync this. And what do we have now in the structure here? So we have a virtual env that we are not managing ourselves. We have our Git, we have our Python version, which I kind of appreciate that they put that here. So that's kind of nice. Can we actually pin that to like something above or anything compatible with? I don't know. Anyhow, we have our requirements, which we don't have any right now. And we have our requirements dev, which also we don't have any of them right now. So let's the fact that I'm now not in PyCharm land and not in warp land makes me kind of like slower, but you'll bear with me hopefully. Anyhow, the fact that we have a virtual env locally means that all IDEs just work with that interpreter out of the box with no like fancy configuration or plugins. But we do need to let them know that they cannot manage the packages. That might actually be broken because as I recall, Rye does not expose pip externally to projects. So there is not going to be like, if we now, because we are in like Rye mode, if I recall correctly, like which Python we are in, like Rye is controlling now our virtual env basically. But we do not have pip, or if we do have pip, it's not the pip from Rye. It's just the pip that's somewhere here in the system, which means that pip is not related to this project. Like, it's a tool that Rye uses, but it's not in our control at all. Which means that pip freeze won't work as IDs might expect. I wonder how will that actually break things or not, but we will see. Because right now, if we go with, I think it has detected correctly the right version of Python, but like importing, managing packages might be broken. We'll see. Anyhow, we have a hello Rye library here with function exported, which is nice. Like, it's kind of like the bootstrapping of Rust projects, where you've got like a hello world function generated for you, which is nice. Like, very considerate, basically. Anyhow, now that we've done with now that we're done with installation, let's go over the basics. So we've scaffolded our projects. The init command accepts a lot of options to customize what it generates. Let's look at rye-init-help. So rye-init. Okay, and when he wrote a lot, he meant a lot. So do you want? Yes, please. Yeah, I do want to scroll with pages with the scroll bar. Okay, so minimum Pi version. That's nice. Okay, that's the one I was missing before. No README, no pin. Build system. Okay. Possible values: hatchling, setup tools, flit, PDM, Maturin. Okay, that's kind of nice. Which license would you like to use? Awesome. Name, private, do not upload classifier. No import. Don't import from setup CFG, setup Pi, or requirements file. -r requirements. Verbose. Quiet. Okay, so not that many options, but definitely useful options. Yeah, I should have gone with maybe license something, but nothing interesting that much. Rye pen, that's the thing that we did. First sync. Okay, this is as we've seen, that has downloaded the toolchain for us and like and made sure everything works. And you can activate and work normal. Let's just run this. Yeah, so it is definitely from running from our virtual env. And adding dependencies. Rye add Flask. So because we're misfits, let's just use Fast API because I like that library better these days. It's more modern and more async forward thinking. Not a fault of Flask. Flask is an amazing micro web framework, and it was just built before async existed. So it's now only backported to async. And let's, so added as greater equals. I'm kind of surprised that they haven't gone with something like Fast API. I was sure it will go with like tilde equals something. So let's actually do that because we want anything above 104.1. So we want patch level compatibility. So if we look right now at the requirements, actually, let's write sync now. Where's our sync? So it's reusing the same virtual env. It is now generating the log file, which is nice. Actually, that means that using Rai does not require us to use Rai in production at all, because we can just, well, use the log files in order to install with pip directly with no need to actually have the package manager in our container, which is kind of nice. Like, I appreciate that. Okay, so as we can see, we've got dash editable file locally, which is like we are using ourselves as a package, basically. It means we are importable. And we've got a lot of stuff that Fast API now required for us. Cool. Use Rai lock or Rai sync to update this log file. Last locked with the following flags. Free false features. That's kind of nice. Like looking at that and saying, this is how we generated the log file. Cool. I appreciate that. And the dev log file, I'm surprised, is also containing all of this. Anyhow, let's actually Rai add -- dev. Let's go with black. And Rai sync. So whenever I'm adding a new dependency, I would have considered maybe just also like install it, because, well, that's the logical thing to do, but I'm not sure like why separate these two into two steps. Maybe there's a consideration I'm missing. Anyhow, if we now type black, will it just work? Yes, it will, but which black is it though? Which black? So it's using brew bin black. So brew install black. No such keg. So who are you? Not echo, sorry. Let's bat this. So it's Python 3.8. Okay, definitely. Python 3.8-m pip uninstall black. Yes, please. And which black now? No, black is not found. Awesome. If we Rai sync again. So this is kind of slow, especially like now that we haven't changed anything. If I recall correctly, we have not, or yeah, so I have run the installation. Nothing should have changed. Why is black not running? Or maybe it's something. Okay, maybe I need to actually look at that. So Rai add black, run black. So Rai run. So okay, sure. I don't love this, but this will work probably. Yeah. And if we want to activate the virtual env, we can just do that locally as per usual, which is just sourcing the activate shell script, and now we can just run black locally with no, not using like Rai run to wrap the virtual env for us. Now also which pip? Yeah, whose pip is that? Like who? That pip. Yeah. Can I brew unlink Python 3.8? Like I really don't use it anyway. At 3.8. Which pip? Is it now 3.9? No, it is still that. Actually, brew uninstall Python 3.8. Sorry, at. This is just me, yeah, trying to remove crap, basically. Which pip now? Bad. It's still 3.8. Okay, so why does this linger? Which pip? This not work? No such keg. So this is just leftover that doesn't work now. So pip. Yeah, so that is basically just leftover crap. Let's arm that. So which pip? Which pip? Pip not found. Awesome. Yeah, as I said, like no pip in this virtual env, which is surprising. But yeah, let's continue. Changing the home folder, that's not interesting. Config toml. Very little configuration is available. We can look at the config keys. Ri self, ri pi. So we have ri pi? No, we don't. Or is this like the... Okay, these are the keys, probably. While Ri is written in Rust, it uses a lot of Python tools internally. These are maintained with an internal virtual env stored in this location. Oh, I see. So let's actually walk over the folder structure. So home.ri. So we've got pi here, which uses C. We have like CPython 3.11 and 3.8 apparently. We've got the ri self, which has a lot of stuff here apparently. What else do we have here? We have the completions ZSH file that I've created that can be removed. And let's not use, yeah, let's what else do we have here? Pip tools, pi self shims. What are shims? So we've got basically some symlinks to a lot of stuff. And Ri itself seems like an executable, not a symlink, which is kind of useful, I guess. Yeah. Anyhow, shims Ri. Not which, I meant. Oh, interesting. So Python itself is pointing to the shim Ri. And Ri probably knows how it was called, like what's the name of the executable itself. And then it knows how to behave. And that is interesting. Okay, we might want to do some read-ups on the shim thing itself. These binaries are instances of the Python executable which automatically proxies the current virtual env or globally installed tools. So installing tools, that's an interesting thing by itself. It's like not a dev tool for the project, it's a tool for the environment at large. Okay. So that's the config toml in the Ri folder. Requires Python 3.8. That's the default. Yeah, we can definitely bump that up to 3.11, but yeah, sure, why not? Like, I don't care. And we can also like say build system. Default license, author, dependency operator. Okay, cool. So we can influence that quite easily. That's quite nice. When set to the managed flag, the managed flag should, when set to true, the managed flag is always assumed to be true. Enable global shims when set to true, global Python false. Yeah. So if we go back to this one, and it will say try config, interesting. So it's not fully aware of that, or at all. If we just write config, it will say nothing. Write config get set bool, unset, show path, format, possible values, JSON, -- format, JSON, an empty object. -- get something. Do we want to actually go on that road? Probably not. Like not that interesting. Anyhow, shims. After installation, write places 2 shims on your path, Python and Python 3. These shims have specific behavior that changes depending if they are used within a Rai managed project or outside. Inside the Rai managed projects, they resolve to the Python interpreter of the virtual env. So that's kind of cool. Like I'm really now curious, how do they do that? So that means that, yeah, when we actually resolve now which Python, as we said, this now here we are activated with the same virtual env. So let's copy that. Let's open a new tab. Let's cd into the project, but let's not activate the virtual env. And now if we type which Python, we are directed to the shim. And if we actually type Python now, we are Python 3.11. And if we import sys and we go for sys executable, it will claim that we have executed this Python. Anyhow, this shim does a little bit of magic, which is kind of nice. Like, I appreciate that. This is kind of like the magic behavior I expect from basically FNM, which does like node management, node version management. But what it does is that if you define like the node version, like just like the .python version here, it will know how to like download, install, and activate on your path the right node version. But actually using a shim is like cleaner and nicer, because it like leaves the evaluation when you actually need that, and not like listening to every cd command that you enter to your terminal, which is, I think, a little bit cleaner. But that also means that we are like giving control to Rai to control all our Python environments, which is nice, because like usually anyhow what I do is, if we have a virtual environment, I will either activate it manually, and this like saves me the trouble basically. And it's a no-op in the other direction, where if I activate it anyway, it's not in the way. Anyway, back to the docs. So the shims do quite a nice thing. I really like the fact that they have like their own fetching like the full runtime, and I don't need to think about it, magic. And we can move on. So the Python project. So we've already seen like the dependencies and everything like that. Here we have, it's by default hatchling, which I don't care about, because if I'm not shipping a library, like if I ship a library, that might be useful. If not, then I don't really care, because I'm not building anything. If it's an app, then it doesn't really matter. Fast API not installed. Well, that's what you think, because you haven't tried to import that. Anyhow, yeah, so we've got dev dependencies, we've got our build system, we have our requires Python. Yeah, we need to update that to 3.11, as we've already said. And actually, let's just also have that smaller than 3.13, because, well, that's a more sane support, like version range to support. And we can now continue on with, let's actually run rysync and let's see what's happening. We can close this one. Sorry. Did I close the wrong one? I did not. Yeah, okay, so this has ran and everything looks fine. We can also now actually, let's open here, let's call that Dunder main or something like that, and we can now import from fast API, import fast API. Hello, Rye. Yeah, sure. That's yeah, we don't need that. So I really don't appreciate actually having the main function in the Dunder init file. So let's actually call that something that like lines of core, and let's have that in core. And then we can just import from core, import hello, return hello. Awesome. We can also shift the import. I don't care that much about like the fact that it's a dynamic import and not running here at bootstrap time. By the way, this is a really good way to like save if you are writing like lambdas. It's nothing like a JavaScript where dynamic imports suck. Here, dynamic imports are actually like loaded once into memory on when you encounter them as the interpreter goes. They incur minimal delay if you do them like in a short way, and if you have double imports, if you have them also here, then it will still just work as expected basically. Like the .core module would be loaded, and you could use the function in both cases, but like in one of them it would short circuit because the module is already in memory. Side note, unrelated to Rye, unrelated to what we're doing right now. Okay, so we've got dependencies, we've got scripts, which is nice because, well, scripts suck in poetry, and I hope they don't suck here. So let's actually try to have that thingy here. So if we go with, let's call that server, and we can now go with hello Rye, and we've got, okay, so I don't appreciate, actually, let's rename Dunder main to just main. No need to hide anything here. And in our PyProject toml, we can go for hello Rye.main app. Seems like the thing that I'm aiming for. And here we are only missing the if Dunder. Actually, we don't need even the if Dunder main equals main because we are directly calling the app function, the app object, which in itself is callable, and then it will just do the thing that we expect it to. Which actually, if we think about it a little bit further, server is actually should be uvicorn. Doing that, and for that we need to install uvicorn. So let's do that. So Rye add uvicorn standard and Rye sync, because that's the thing that we need to do after adding a dependency. Yeah, so this already like seems to be annoying me. So let's actually shorthand this to something. What was the thing here? It was somewhere in the configuration. We can just set that to be the dependency operator. Okay, so this is done, right? Oh, installation failed. Interesting. Okay, we'll debug that and then come back to configuring everything here. So what it says is, hello Rai, invalid script entry point. It says command entry point server UV core none, callable suffix is required. Am I doing this wrong? Okay, let's just shift the scripts. Let's just push the scripts for later because we are in the middle of trying to run Rai sync, which does different things. Oh, actually, let's Rai config -- set. And then we need to pull up the dependency operator and then say help because I don't remember what's the actual syntax, which is set a string. Key equals value. Okay, cool. So dependency operator equals to this. If you don't know, tilde equals is you can only bump patch versions, I think. And I think the only thing that might be better than that right now is maybe only you can also bump minors and not just patches. So, but I'm not sure what is actually supported. The operations are greater equals, tilde equals, and equals equals. This affects the behavior of Rai add. Yeah. So if we now Rai add UVCon standard again, added as a regular dependency. Well, that's not the thing that I aimed for. I hoped this would actually change the configuration here. Do we need to like do the dependency operator here? So let's try tilde equals, and let's remove this one, and let's try again, right? Add UVCon standard, and it says the same thing. What if we Rai sync again? Wait, are we sure this actually happened? Maybe this just didn't happen. So let's sublime this Rai config toml. Definitely happened. It's the only thing that's here. But does it need to be like default? Yeah, okay, so apparently like this is not exactly bootstrapped correctly. So let's try that again. Rai add. Yay! Okay, so it was missing the default object here to make things work, which means like Rai still hasn't figured everything out like completely cleanly, but yeah, sure. Let's see if they have a bug on that, because, well, we are trying to be nice. So a lot of options. Let's actually see if like config toml exists here. SSL on Windows, that's definitely not a thing. Rai run sync, Rai add. Yeah, so this is the thing that the only reason they are separate is the appalling performance of Rai lock and Rai sync today. But yes, it really should. Yeah, the performance is definitely appalling. With the changes of 121, this feature becomes somewhat ambiguous as to the state of the virtual env is now influenced by the features picked on lock and sync. IMO, An option could be used --sync or no sync. Config toml. Okay, so no issue or pull request on the actual like Rai config being not here and not working correctly. Ooh, that's nice. The rough team is all working on a formatter too. Yeah, but this one does not produce valid ASTs. There's no consensus for the utility for these utility commands yet. I wonder if Armin actually like pitched in. No, he did not chime in on this. Caught on fast. Do not underestimate any of the outputs. The reason I thought that when PR was appropriate is that Mitsuko explicitly wrote Rai shall ship the one true formatter in the design docs. See the diff. Not code analyzer. Okay. So yeah, I think we are waiting on like a formatter here to ship like the one true formatter. I wonder what files changed. What do they have here? Reformatting, map extension, path spec, black. Interesting. Okay, cool. So this is actually like doing the thing that it says, which executes black under the hood. So command new Python, black command -n black. Then quiet verbose, check, transmit, nice. Okay, cool. This is actually like looking good. I'm wondering why Armin hasn't like pitched in on this. Anyhow, let's just go back to actually making things work here. So let's go back to the script now that we have debugged the config issue. So configuration, shims, Python project, scripts. So if we'd like to actually run not just a script, but actually like a shell command, we say cmd. Okay, cool. So this is going to be, where are the scripts? Yeah, so this is going to be now an object and command equals, yeah. Does description actually exist? If yes, then this is amazing. If not, then probably going to be bad. But Rai run, or is it script? So run a command installed on this package. So run server. Invalid script. So first of all, yeah, let's call that uvcorn hello Rai dot main app dash reload. Seems okay, if I recall correctly. This is actually the way to go. Rerunning again with not help, but let's with RTFMing. So project scripts, interesting. So here it's tool Rai scripts, and here it's project scripts. So this key specifies the scripts that are to be generated and installed into the virtual environment during sync. These scripts will invoke the configured entry point. So this one is only for running Python objects. It's not for running arbitrary scripts. And here we've got tool Rai scripts, tool Rai scripts, which can do more arbitrary stuff. And these ones how do we run them? They are exposed via run. Okay, so let's run server now. And this now serves our project. Okay, cool. Hello, Rye. That's very nice. And started reloading using watch files. Very cool. So this is like the scripts thing that I was hoping for, that Poetry does not do. It does not do like arbitrary shell commands. It only does Python entry points, which you could also do. Like we could have gone with duplicating this, calling that back to project scripts, and then doing like the server, let's call that CMD server, and let's call that just server, and that is just this thing. And then we need to actually declare this with something that works, or actually with no main. That's just incorrect. So we could just define that like that, everything like that. And then here we need to go and actually go with if dunder name equals main, uvicorn, host, blah, 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 blah. Does reload work like that? Is that a thing? I'm not sure. That's actually a thing. We will see. And now we can just run server, and it says unknown or invalid script. And we need to say something in the lines of, well, def main does the thing, if dunder name equals main. And it's still not working because we haven't try synced everything. So this script should now just work. And it says installation of dependencies, returned 0 exit status. And what does it say? It says, hello Rye, invalid script entry point. And it says, hello Rye.main none is not callable. And you are correct, because I fucked it up and I forgot to run main or app. But yeah, let's go with main, because that's the thing that we actually want to run, because we want to run our server, not fast API directly. Yeah, but this is okay. This is actually kind of super slow. Like I wonder what can be done about that. And now if we run the Rye server, you must pass application to the import. The application as an import string to enable reload all workers, which is a thing that I recall as this is true. Rye run server and allow, and that is just now working. Very good. Yeah, and actually the thing that I want to actually run this on is probably localhost, as this is, well, a local application. Yeah, this is probably like a little bit more reasonable, given that this is a development laptop and not a server. Anyhow, moving on. We don't want to basically bind to our Wi-Fi interface. Where were we? So we are in the middle of this. What else do we have? So Rye scripts, we've done that. That is kind of nice. We can also define an env, some env variables, which is very useful. So there's a chain. What is chain? Lint. Chain, lint black, lint flake, lint blah blah, lint blah blah. Okay. That's very nice. That's actually like it's also like solving the. I want to run things in CI, and I want them to be exactly the same. Like when I run my linters on CI and here, I just basically can hook these up. Kudos! Wow, I really like that. Okay, call. Yeah, if we give it a special function name, that's nice. Also, we can pass args. I was not aware that's a thing you can do. You can give it built-in modules print hello world. Oh, that's so cool. Rai workspaces. Okay, this is like the actual, like, we're getting into the meat of this. But so far, like, I'm super excited. By the way, this is like, except for the slowness of like running Rai sync, which is kind of painful, but also like I don't care so much. I don't spend a lot of time syncing my workspaces. I just need them to basically work and like install once, and then you can just run and actually develop. That's like a completely good trade-off in comparisons to like the fact that this tool just does everything else. So let's try that. So we have another project. Let's call that let's call that subproj. And it's not a Python package on purpose. And then we have, how does that work? So optionally, members, mylib dash. The root project itself is always a member. Interesting. So I saw here somewhere in the issues that they were also aiming to maybe not do that. Without using Rai without project name and version in project common. Workspace. Interesting. I was sure I saw somewhere before that they were also aiming for maybe not having like the root workspace, but that doesn't really matter for me. Like having also like an empty workspace and then only managing sub workspaces, it's also fine. So if we go for the PyProject terminal and have ourselves workspaces, basically, let's actually put them kind of in the top. No, okay. No, in the bottom is fine. And now we can go for members and say subproj. And that would mean, so it's an array and I can glob, apparently. I think we need to read about workspaces specifically. So let's actually just go directly to workspaces, because seems like a thing that is useful. Syncing and locking, building and publishing, dependency sources. So dependency sources is like packaging indices. That's not what I'm aiming for. Dependencies. Workspace. By default, all Python projects are discovered in subfolders and then will become members of this workspace and share a virtual env. Optionally, the members key, an array, can be used to restrict these members. In that list of globs can be used, the root project itself is always a member. So are we just, okay, so we don't need like the workspace thing? It's just a limitation, it's not actually relevant. So, okay, I just want to be sure. Let's actually cd into subproject, which is like now completely unrelated, and we just go with Rai init again. So we have our own Python version, readme, PyProject toml, and source file here. How do we declare dependencies between them, like the right way? Horrible pun intended. So dependencies. Local. Git or local dependencies. So Rai add my utility path my utility. Seems to be just thing. So Rai add subproj. Oh, I see. So I need to go with something like file. Path, sorry. So dash dash path. And oh, so I need to call that. Yeah, so let's go with subproj. And then I need to give that a name. So subproject. Add subproject, add file as a regular dependency. Okay, cool. So we can now declare local dependencies like that. We can also like go with get dependencies. Seems to be like clean, kind of. When working with local dependencies, it's strongly encouraged to configure a workspace. So, okay, so let's remove this. Where's the whole thingy? But we ran the add and everything just should have just worked. So subproj is only defined here. So let's actually write sync now and see what's going on. It says failed to generate log file. Could not write production log file for workspace. Interesting. So what does it actually do? So it's trying to generate the requirements log file. And it's saying file not found. Which file? No such file, subproj. Well, they're not wrong. I can't really blame them. And that is actually because I really fucked things up, apparently. And I've even redeclared the dependencies not in the right place. So yeah, shame on me. So let's actually delete that and let's run rysync again. So this should now only work on this PyProject toml. This should just sync and like lock the subproject. Oh, this is actually slow. Like, this was painfully slow, or at least painfully halted. I wonder like what's actually causing this to be slow, but if I deem this to be like a useful tool, then I might actually contribute to making this better, because well, things in like the Python packagement world is kind of terrible, except for maybe Poetry, but also like Poetry does not support sub-projects and workspaces that good or at all, or like toolchain management, they don't do a lot of like sad stuff basically. And this looks like it worked. Now we can try rysync locally. And do we need to actually try to install everything, or do we need to just make things like things are just magically imported? I'm not sure. So if we import from subproject, from subproject import hello as subproj hello. So did that just work magically? So it does install subproject. I think that just worked, which this is not a thing that happens in like the Python world. Like sub-packaging is not a thing that just works. Just to make sure that this is also hello from sub-project. So yeah, let's re-export that, dash all, and also sub-project hello. And here on the main, we can also say read root, well, let's go with sub-project, and from core import sub-project hello and sub-project hello. And if we now run run server, and we go to this one, it says hello Rai. If we go to sub-project, it says hello from sub-project. Okay, so imports are not broken, and they work magically as expected, which makes me suspicious. How does this work? Like, what does this magical thing here in the bottom actually does? What does this actually do to make things work? I don't know, but I'm happy it does, because this is like not trivial to get right. Anyhow, syncing and locking. Rai lock update all. Update specific dependencies or the requirement to the latest and greatest version. Without this flagged dependency will only be updated if necessary. Okay. Features. Rai add optional web. Features web. So what does Rai lock actually do here? So packages can have extra dependencies. By default, the local package is installed will be only installed with the default features. If, for instance, you have extra dependencies, this will be installed. The feature is enabled. So optional thingy, but Rai lock features web. Interesting. I'm confused by this line. But I won't think about that much, because usually I don't have like optional features. I just opt into whatever I need, and I don't need to export optional features myself. So let's just not think about it that much. Anyhow, we can also have pre-releases. Okay, that's nice. Sync, no lock. So syncing takes the same parameters as lock. Sync will usually first do lock and then that. Okay, to prevent the lock step from automatically running, pass no lock. Can also run no dev. Only sync the production log file. Building and publishing. So write build. So we'll build both sdist and wheel targets. That's kind of nice. So run build wheel. That's very nice, and build clean. Publishing. Yeah, okay. Publishing a repository. Okay, that's kind of nice. Rust modules. We're not going to dive into this rabbit hole, but apparently you can also have Rust projects within your projects, which is very nice. Dependency sources. Just use PyPy. Don't think about it that much. If you have an internal Python index, then you don't need my advice, usually. Adding basic dependencies. And what happens? Do we actually need to do like the Rai management for each package on its own? I'm not sure. When adding such a dependency, it depends. You can provide a name for the package. Additionally, git dependencies, all kinds of extra parameters. Okay, that's nice. Toolchain management. Okay. Portable CPython. Yeah, okay, so this is like going very deep on the toolchain thing. We don't need that. Tools. So Rai install rough. So this install thing is external to the project. Why is this good? I'm not sure it's good. I think it's like a convenience feature, but I would not use that, because usually what I would want is like each project to have its own settings in that sense, and not and to have like explicit dependencies within the project, and not like depend on like the global shim to like do the magic thing of like routing black to the right thing. So yeah, I don't think I would use that. If dependencies are not at all specified, they can be provided with extra requirements. Listing tools. Okay, so that's... Yeah, definitely I would not use tools, I think. Maybe if I want like globally to install stuff regardless of like an actual project. Just like I would just install a tool with my brew package manager, basically. Windows developer mode. So yeah, Windows does not interest me. tkinter also not interesting. Python interactive prompt input messed up. Compiled against libedit. Not interesting. Can I use Rai alongside other Python installations? Rai, given its experimental nature, does not want to disrupt already existing Python workflows. As such, using it alongside other Python installations is intentionally supported. Even if the Rai shims come first in your path, Rai will automatically resolve to a different Python installation on the search path when invoked in a folder that contains non-Rai managed projects. As such, the answer is a clear yes. That's good to know. Wheels appear to be missing files. You might be encountering missing files in Wheels when running Rai build if you're using Hatchling. The reason is that Rai build uses build behind the scenes to build the wheels. There are two build modes. In some cases, the wheel is first built from an sdist. So if your sdist does not include the necessary data files, the resulting wheel will be incorrect. This can be corrected by adding the files to the include in the hatch config from sdist for sdists. So basically, go read your docs if you're building and shipping a community. Okay, so like looks like a really nice tool. I really appreciate the fact that like someone is actually trying to make this work. I know like Armin is doing this for his own personal benefit, but looks like a proper new good thing. So I think I will keep tabs on this tool, and I will actually try to use that. I've already joined the Discord. If you are interested in that, you should join too. If you like this video and you would like to actually use Rai, then leave a comment and maybe like, I don't know, ask some questions. I will try to answer them. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.